Hey guys, Stephanie with AmericanMuscle.com here with my overview and an install of the Injen'sPower cold air intake available for the 2015 and up EcoBoost Mustang. This overview is going to cover a few topics with the Injen intake, like what you can expect from this intake, some info about the components and construction, and some info about the install. The install for this is a simple one. It's a 1 out of 3 wrenches in the difficulty meter, but I'll get more into that a little later on. The Injen'sPower cold air intake is going to be for the S550 EcoBoost owners out there that are looking for a closed element airbox cold air intake that maintains the cold air feed from outside of the grill. There are a lot of different cold air intakes for the S550 that offer different features, but this is one of the only offerings that combines this intake tube with a closed airbox with a cold air feed. Now, I've said this for almost every cold air intake video for this gen car because it's true, but when it comes to the factory intake, it's actually not a terrible intake. What we tend to see is aftermarket cold air intakes tend to function a little bit better than the factory intake and the upper RPMs, and especially after some mods have been completed. This intake is no different, especially with its design. This is designed to be as free-flowing as possible to provide air for the EcoBoost. So this is a closed airbox design, which means that the air filter is closed off and is contained in this box here, with a direct cold air feed from the grill of the car that Ford made from the factory. Like other aftermarket intakes for the EcoBoost, this one does not require a tune because these cars are speed density cars. Speed density cars don't have mass airflow sensor, and the mass airflow sensor size is actually what determines whether a cold air intake will require a tune or not. So no aftermarket cold air intake for the EcoBoost requires a tune, which means that you can just bolt up any intake and go. Even though this is the case with the EcoBoost, I do want to be clear with the fact that you're only going to see gains of a few horsepower without a tune. This intake is going to come with a few pieces. You have your reusable air filter, your Wrinkle Black inlet tube, mounting clamps and hardware, and your air box. Taking a closer look at some of the components of the intake, the air filter is a reusable filter, and what's nice about the reusable filter is that you can clean the filter when it's dirty and reinstall it and not have to worry about having to purchase a new filter every time. Looking at the price for this intake, you can expect to pay close to the $350 mark. Now, like I said, this intake does have some nicer features like the closed airbox with a cold air feed and the reusable filter, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive than other options. As for the install, it's nothing too difficult, and like I mentioned earlier, the intake will come with all of the items that you need to complete the install. It's probably one of the easier mods that you can tackle with your new Mustang, and it'll take about a half hour or an hour tops, and I'm going to call it a 1 out of 3 wrenches on our scale. All you really need to complete the install is a few basic hand tools. All you're looking at doing is removing the factory airbox. You need to disconnect the airbox from the inner fender and remove the inlet tube from the air filter and the throttle body, but we're just talking about a few bolts and clamps to get that done. This intake installs nearly the same way the factory airbox came out, so the install is pretty much the same as installing a factory intake. Just put on your new couplers and clamps and slide on the air filter and put the shroud into place and tighten everything down. Wrapping things up here, this intake from Injen'sPower does not require a tune. It features a closed airbox with a reusable air filter, it keeps the cold air feed from the grill, and it has a Wrinkle Black inlet tube. And you can check it out more online for yourself right here at AmericanMuscle.com.